Weston McKennie suspended for violating team rules. And then he went on Instagram and said he was sorry for his actions. That's all we know. That's all I know about the incident. But something happens, and I think it was a distraction for the team, whether Gregg Berhalter or the other teammates or his teammates will admit it.
Yeah, Jimmy, I don't know if you had any time in your career where a player is sick match day or whatever it is. You've been going through the training sessions, you've gone through the tactics, you've worked through it and all those things, and then something happens that you can't control, you as a player that's not involved in whatever incident happens. It's a distraction. Now we're talking about the biggest game so far in the U.S.'s qualifying campaign. Obviously, there's only been 2, but it's a huge distraction. And I don't want to speculate. Obviously, he put the post up here that you can see. Unfortunately, I'm suspended, and it was about team COVID protocols. Now, if they're in a bubble, there's a number of things that could be, right? I'm going to assume it was on the more extreme end that he left the bubble, or he left or had somebody in the hotel that shouldn't be, or he went somewhere he shouldn't be that puts others' health and ability to play at jeopardy, than just sort of like meeting somebody in the lobby and giving someone like a hug when you're not supposed to, or like maintaining, safe social distancing. I would assume it's probably on the far end of that, or that there was some sort of public element to it that came into play where he was spotted or seen somewhere that may have a long-term effect. That's me speculating. So
of course,
don't read into that much, but it's a huge distraction, right? And he's just one, right? Gio Reyna it comes up with an injury. Obviously it's great to have Christian Pulisic back in the team again, but it's just a lot of change for this team. And I know we're going through this and it's going to make them better in the long run. I hope to have to face adversity, but yeah, just not what I wanted to hear.
So one of the things, and I know we're getting into the speculation side of things, but what has been proven is that Weston McKennie, while he was playing for Juve, had a party at his apartment, or went to a party where they were breaking COVID rules during a very important time not to be out and socializing. And he ended up getting in trouble by the club for participating in it. So to your point about, can they learn from it? I hope so. But if this is something similar to that, where he's, and you said this on HQ, being a little bit selfish in his decision-making, when all you have to do, dude, is focus on these 3 games. You're in a bubble for 10 or 11 days. I know it's tedious. We've been in there before. We know how hard it can be and how boring it can be and how repetitious it can be. But this is a big deal, man. This, like, qualifying for a World Cup is a big, I know he knows that, but when you're about to make those decisions, those are the things that have to go through your mind. And so what's interesting is the 2 players that we missed, Weston McKennie and Gio Reyna, were probably the 2 players we missed the most in this game against Canada, because we had to roll out other guys. Brendan Aronson, though he scored a good goal and he ended up starting that goal with his good pressure and his good energy, which is one of his hallmarks, and ended up having the good sense of presence to get into the box and finish it off. Fantastic goal. But it would have been nice. Now, Gregg didn't make subs until the 83rd minute. I assume that if he had Weston McKennie or Gio Reyna available, these guys probably would have started, but you would have had Aronson come on in the 65th minute, or you would have had somebody else come on. Instead, we waited till the 83rd minute to make subs, man. So that is really interesting for me. And I feel like there's some dominoes that are falling here in terms of discipline off the field and how that discipline comes and shows up on the field. And then obviously we got our depth tested today, and I'm not going to say, I thought we just didn't kill it, right? Those guys that came in didn't necessarily kill it and own it and make it their own. I actually thought Anthony Robinson was pretty good on the left, but outside of that, there was nobody else that really stood out for me in terms of that. I don't know where you want to go with this. I'm all over the place. I don't really have a question. Just run.
My thoughts are that exactly. To wrap up my thought on Weston, I hope he's got a team of people around him that are going to look him in the eyes and talk to him honestly and say, you are not better than a single player on this national team, on your club team, or anybody else. You are not above the law. And Jimmy, you and I played with plenty of players, have a night out, you sneak out, nobody says anything. And I'm not saying that's what he did, but I'm saying we've all had players that needed something that, in a different time period or whatever. Maybe we know some that have gotten in trouble for it, and others that don't. But people, I love it.
Keep them nameless, Heath.
Yeah,
keep them nameless.
Everybody needs something different to prep for a game or take their mind off, to unwind. Michael Bradley was my roommate. He watched soccer all day long on his laptop. I would watch movies. That was what we did. We typically didn't go anywhere, but we had 2 different ways of decompressing. Other people have other ways of decompressing. But when you're in this crucial phase, and the world is so different the last year and a half, and I know it's hard, And I know that you feel stuck inside, especially he's a social butterfly. He just loves to be out and about. It's hard, but you've got to figure out a way to put the team first. And again, I'm speculating on whatever it was. Maybe I don't know.
Listen, he said sorry for his actions. So there was clearly something. I mean, there is some speculation in terms of the degree of the severity of the action, but clearly it was enough to invoke him not even dressing, not even being in the 18. Because if it was just like I showed up 5 minutes late to a meeting or whatever, he just wouldn't start potentially, right? But it wouldn't be him not being a part of the 18 at all.
Yeah, I've had teammates not start because they were late to the pregame meal or late to the pregame meeting, things like that, where it's like you have to make a statement for the wider team and you keep it in house and no one knows about it.